Happy Easter, or happy spring long weekend. Thank you again for joining us all to Staging Lanes this weekend. I'm your host, Tanya Sen from Muskoka Outlaws NPRC, teamed up with Canadian NPRC, Canadian No Prep RC Drag Racing. And we're here live again tonight. I apologize. I've misplaced my script. So I want to just state that our show is emphasis on promoting our Canadian racers and manufacturers to bring you their expertise and products to our world to inspire our new and existing racers. Sorry, guys. One sec. I'm just getting some details up. Oh, stop. Of course, everything has to go wrong when you don't want it to go wrong. So tonight's show is going to be talking about the NPRC Racing Series, and we have, since it's Easter, it's kind of ironic. We have a painter on the show who will be giving his expertise and information in regards to his professionalism. So I want to start with our announcements tonight before we begin with our guests. So tonight's announcements are, today's race was canceled, unfortunately, due to weather. So Muskoka Outlaws NPRC's first race will be actually now dated for April 30th as per the schedule, with the weather's cooperation. Did you share that to the Facebook groups? Okay. And share it to the Facebook groups, please. Do it. Okay. So the next thing is, usually I'll plug on the NPRC Racing Series, but we have a special guest to talk about that tonight. Get everybody caught up, since I believe the first race will be May 7th. Please see Staging Lane's YouTube channel and subscribe for more live and recorded interviews, more event notifications and live coverage, possibly more product reviews for me. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, announcements for the show, please message me or Staging Lanes. And of course, we are a live show, so please comment and ask questions. We will try and answer them. So again, I want to thank everyone for being here. And I see Intent RC is watching and Web RC is watching tonight. I'm hoping we'll get more viewers as we're sharing and doing things a little differently tonight. Sorry, guys. All right. So I want to bring on Chuck Taylor and Jason Zarb. Here we are. And they're going to bring on information regarding the NPRC Racing Series. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. And so I know you guys are anxious about getting the word out about the NPRC Racing Series, along with the rules and how it's going to work for everybody.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. Somehow I'm here alone with everything.
Ryan Lucas was having troubles with his phone. We'll see if he can come in. I was here to try to help. But yes, the series is May 7th, June 5th, July 9th, August 21st, September 24th, and October 2nd is the final race. They vary back and forth. Sorry.
1 second, sorry.
No.
You have that shared to all the groups, Canadian NPRC and ours. Dad said for you to do it. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just making sure the word's getting out there rather than just in one place. Sorry, Go ahead, Chuck.
So yes, May 7th, June 5th, July 9th, August 7th, September 24th, and October. They rotate back and forth between Line 4, Muskoka Outlaw area, and the hooking area ESO group. The first one is on May 7th is the Barry's Points race, and then every other one of that, the guys were able to work out a date. So it's also cash days that day at the other local events. So it becomes like 2 races in one. Up the ante a little more, help us out, a little more testing, and then it will always follow after the event of the local area. Is how we set it up. We had to follow the NPRC rules. Obviously, I'm not arguing none of that. It's not that we had to follow it as per Tommy Burgess, WebRC's outline. All of it. The points is as they stated. It's 1 point per win light. Buybacks are allowed back in. It still remains as 1 point per win light, as well as an extra point for winning the event. It's $10 American for us to make it easy. If there's a real problem with the exchange, but for us to make it easy as Canadians, we ask for 15 at it. That can be paid to Jason Zahn, Ryan Lucas, or myself at the event of that day. That's we have to convert over to American money, obviously, when we pay the final pot there. So $7.50 of that Canadian goes back to the winner of the event that day. $7.50 goes to the finals in Florida in November, Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
Perfect. The only question I have is about the buyback. Would that be the same price as the buy-in?
A good question. Yes,
that is a good question.
I'd have to look on that one. That's why we're doing this now, so we have every last little detail down. I just understood the buy-in. I just got that all finalized up. Oh, it's still the 1 point. I will have to make sure of the buyback rule of what it is. For sure, we'll look into that. At this time, it's the same price back in. Tommy Burgess trying to make the pot bigger, I'm sure, or the guys are. So we'll stick at that for now. And if it changes, there'll be an update, or at the time of the race, we can fill that in a little more.
Wonderful, thanks.
Yes.
Perfect. Anything else you'd like to add tonight, Jason?
Yeah, I just want to make it clear with everyone. Everyone has a chance to...
Camera's running late.
What is it? Can you see it or no?
Yeah.
Ryan Lucas has got a Charger too. I believe Ryan's coming to join us. Ryan driving for Undercover Hitman Chassis now. He would like to talk about the chassis and that. I know if I get him here, and if we get together. We were out testing the other day. A few of us. He was trying as well, and we're getting all our tires prepped and ready to go. Well, that's for sure. Not much warmth in the ground here yet. And coming back from Vegas to here is the ground there never freezes. This is where us and our frost does not help us at all. So, shit.
Yeah, that frost makes things a little bit difficult. I'm really disappointed about today's race and calling it. And then I debated whether or not it was too early to call it on Wednesday or not. So I was like, it will be horrible if the weather changes for the better. So
Yeah.
after canceling something.
Yeah, it's tough. That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can you hear me? I'm just having a little problem here.
Yeah, we can hear you, Chuck.
Okay, I'm coming right back here. Yes, yeah, the frost in the ground isn't helping us, and I think we're still frustrated with that. Mr. Zorb, hello.
Could you see me? I was here the whole time.
Yes.
I got Chuck twice here. Sorry.
No
Okay,
worries.
can you close one of them for me, Tanya? No.
I think if I don't add you in, I'm fine. So.
Okay. I got an echo going on.
Oh, WebRC is here. The buyback is not for the series; it's for the race that day.
Okay.
Right. That
And,
makes
yeah,
sense.
and ask her how much is the buyback while we have her.
Val or Rick, how much would be that buyback? I'm making feedback.
Hello. Better.
Hi.
Okay.
How are you?
Now I'm getting
No, I
echo.
don't. No, I'm off it, but now I don't have Jason on a different one.
Hang on.
Mm.
I'm not sure why that's happening.
Mm.
Oh, it is up to the host what the buyback would be.
Okay, well we can do it as 50%. We can do it as
Yeah.
We'd even do a $5 one to keep it simple, I suppose.
There we go. Yeah, that's easy.
Can Zarb hear me? Sorry, I've got
Yeah, I
mixed
can
up
hear
here.
you. Can you hear me?
Are you guys getting echo too, or is it just me?
I'm not.
I am.
Okay. So I want to thank you guys for. Can you move the phone away, maybe? Move the phone. It's probably picking up. Okay. So. We use it for a second place winner. Is how they mentioned the buyback.
Sorry, what was that?
They use the buyback as a second place winner.
Okay.
Oh, I lost everybody. Sorry, guys. Oh, I lost Jason and Chuck. Sorry, guys. I hope that was enough information. I just want to show their little thing I made for the event. And all right, welcome back. And we have Jason back. To stream. Excellent. Hi, Jason. Welcome back.
Hi.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. How's it going?
Good. I noticed you guys just kind of disappeared there for a second. So I played your little clip there that I made for the NPRC Racing.
Yeah. Looks great.
Sorry, guys.
Good work.
Yeah. And hopefully that'll play between now and the end of the series and keep things motivated. And
yeah.
Hopefully it'll be good for Ontario in the NPRC racing. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Was there anything else you'd like to add there, or?
Yeah, I was trying to talk. It's just hard to. Yeah, it was just a hard feedback. But anyways, with the series here, anyone can enter. So if there's guys that are like, if can I enter this race? Am I good enough? Yeah, honestly, anyone can enter. Anyone can win. Just sign up. Just remember, if you're really committed into it, you're gonna have to travel to Florida at the end for the main race, which is gonna be awesome regardless. But just remember that. But even if you don't want to travel to Florida and you want to see if how far you can get in the series, by all means, go ahead, register. Let's build the pod up and let's get everyone motivated and into this for sure.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah,
Let's show the US what we got, right? So
yeah,
I'm really
100%.
excited about this. So,
Yeah.
Jurgen, can you monitor your Facebook for comments and questions just in case? So we are monitoring Facebook as well as
Okay.
YouTube here for any questions, and I just want to make sure that we don't have any questions from you, Facebook today.
Yeah, no problem at all. How's everything going up there? The weather I see is a little bit. I know you're trying to host a race today, and it's hard. I know.
It was like there was a couple days where it was like 10 degrees outside, which
Yeah.
is, about 50, 60 degrees, right? And yeah, today it was freezing. There was
Yeah.
snow in some areas, and yeah, mute, turn down the volume. And what else happened? Yeah, it just would not have been a good day to hook up.
No, 100%. I tried a couple times now, and I just said, you know what, I was getting frustrated already, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna relax a little bit, and then I'll get back out there when the weather gets a little bit nicer. But
I
here
have
we
Chuck
go.
coming back on. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
And then we'll get Tim involved in a minute, and
Yeah,
we'll
no problem at all.
talk more about his stuff.
Yeah,
I think Chuck's coming back. He's having some technical difficulties.
yeah, no worries.
So I'm actually kind of excited about this event. I'm on the fence of whether or not I want to join it yet, but it
Yep.
sounds interesting. And um, oh, thanks, Scott Launch. Sorry, it's supposed to be shared to Facebook though, through Canadian NPRC um, and
Muskoka.
Muskoka Outlaws
Yeah,
NPRC. Let's try to get Chuck back on here again. But yeah, no, it is something that it can intrigue people to get into. This year is my first year that I decided to do an outlaw motor with a 3.5 turn. So I
yeah,
just finally got that installed, thanks to my lovely husband
yeah,
last night. Was it
yeah,
last night or the night before? Something like that. We just ended up with a new hot iron and soldering iron, and
yeah,
the other one just wasn't hot enough for it. So
yeah. No, for sure. That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. You got a nice setup there, I see.
yeah, there's our three of our four cars. So yeah.
Nice. Yep. It starts,
Um,
the collection just grows and grows and grows. That's what it is.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah, I think Chuck's having a hard time there with his internet, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alan, and sorry, guys. I decided to go the other route. I was trying to share the stream through Facebook from YouTube, and it didn't go the right way. And I'm getting a message here. Yeah, Chuck's loading is too slow. So WebRC says thanks to everyone for the help making this series what it has turned into. It's an amazing item to look into.
Yeah.
Uh, it's I don't even have words for it right now. Sorry, but it's exciting. A lot of people are interested. It's changed a lot of people's mindsets on what NPRC is or what it should be or what it will be. It's gone a huge direction, and I love the fact of being a kind of a race promoter in this case, with the fact that we can choose to use the various motor classes, right? So
Yep.
here we're doing the Outlaw, and then we're doing like the VXL. We call it KB Outlaw,
Yep.
um, and then 13.5 and 17.5 are running together in our region. I don't know about the others, so
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
but
we're gonna run the Pinto, I think, the 17.5 and the 13.5 car, all three of those together in one class this year.
yeah,
If I'm not mistaken, Dave's gonna run it this year like that. It's fair. All the cars should be equal. Because yeah, the 13.5 car should be faster than the 17.5 car, but then you
mhm,
can add the turbo and the boost in there to give it a little bit more top end and whatnot.
right.
So it should be comparable. And then the Pinto is gonna be a little fun chassis too because it's a different wheelbase and whatnot. And yeah, it's cool. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I
It is
actually
going to,
parked. Yeah,
yeah,
I parked my 13.5 car this year just to have some fun with the 17.5 car and see if I can compete against the 13.5 cars because there's some fast ones, especially in Niagara. These guys are rockets with their 13.5 cars. So
yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
yeah,
It's fun to see.
absolutely. And we're going to keep a lot of data here too, I think, this year, just so that way we know if the 17.5s can keep up with the 13.5s, and if not, then of course there's got to be a separation. But
Yeah,
in the meantime, I mean, it's good to size it up. I want to keep data on every race for the most part. I think it'll help promote more,
yep,
show where the consistent guys are, so that way they can vouch for themselves to their sponsors, right? So there's a lot
yeah,
of reasons why we should keep the data, I think. So it's
yeah.
going to be good information all around. I probably won't have, well, I shouldn't say probably, I know I won't have actual time, like ET data, but I'll have races one data, which is just as important, right?
Yeah,
So,
100%. Yeah, it all matters who gets across the first, at the finish line the first, right? And that's how you know.
mhm,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Um,
it's,
but
it's
yeah,
gonna be fun.
we have a lot of work ahead of us and a lot of fun, and fun being the key word, right? So,
Yep,
um,
that's the main thing. Everyone has
everyone,
to remember that.
yeah, everyone is in this for one reason or another, right? So,
Yep,
and it's all in the benefit of each other at the same time. So it's wonderful.
right.
Um, Jason, I know you're busy, and I know that there's
No
a
worries.
few
Yeah,
things going on. And I want to thank you and Chuck for coming on to the show tonight, so that way we could talk a little bit more about the NPRC series racing, or
yep.
racing series. Sorry, I said that backwards.
No worries. Yep,
But yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm really going to urge a lot of our racers to join if they are in the outlaw classing, and that way we can, build it bigger, bigger and better. The only reason why I probably wouldn't join is more or less due to the fact of, what is the right word? Of running our own thing up here too, so that can get a little hectic. So,
yep. 100%. You need time for sure.
um, so-
Yeah.
oh,
Well,
all right. I just want to see if Chuck has anything else to add. I'm just bringing him on.
yeah, sure.
Here we go. He says he's good. Hopefully. Sorry, Chuck. I don't know if Chuck's going to make it back. Sorry, guys.
No worries. Yeah. With that being said, Chuck and Ryan are going to be the main guys out that way. Because I'm having a baby next month, so it's going to be very hard for me to get out to every event and to keep a track on everything. But those two guys are going to be at every event, and they're putting their foot, right forward, and they're helping huge with it. So, just to let you guys know, any questions, anything, those are the main people to really talk to you and yourself actually, because you guys are all involved. So I just want to give the heads up to everyone now when they see my name online or whatever. It's not about that. It's just about, everyone else helping and getting the series going. So
Excellent.
yeah,
So Chuck wanted to add in, sorry, he won't be making it back, but he wanted to thank Yeti and WebRC for making this happen for us too.
for sure.
Um,
Yeah,
and again, he's wishing everybody a happy Easter.
yeah. Happy Easter for sure.
Um, yeah, yeah. And WebRC, you're more than welcome. And thanks, Tom and Got Lodge and Alan Thomas for watching tonight. I just want to bring them and
Yeah.
announce that they're here. And Jason Zarb, I want to thank you again for your time tonight. I know it's Easter weekend, so I'm going to let you go and
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's
join
been
your
a long night.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
good. We'll talk to you guys soon. I appreciate it. You have a great night.
No worries. Thank you so much again. We
Yep.
appreciate it.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. So Chuck also says, thank you, everyone, and come on out. It'll be a good racing series for sure. All right. So I do want to introduce this next guest. He's a painter from Northern Ontario. Well, kind of Northern Ontario. I shouldn't say Northern Ontario. Sorry, Tim. And I think it's kind of ironic that he's coming on the show tonight because of Easter. I think of painting Easter eggs and things like that, right? So, but what he does is far better than most Easter eggs. I'd say his work is more like a Fabergé egg at the end of the day. So, I want to welcome Tim Swills to the show tonight.
Hello.
Sorry. We had to do it. Sorry, Tim. Thanks
Okay.
again for taking the time out of your Easter to be on the show tonight. We really do appreciate having you. Um, I don't know what else I need to say here, so I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about yourself. Sorry.
Actually, what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll look at the questions earlier. Give me a second here. There they are.
Any questions from Facebook? Oh. Oh, you can only link it. Can you leave a message on the groups to go to YouTube to staging links to you?
Okay, so I have your questions. Originally, I'm from Beaverton, just outside of, well, just north of Oshawa on Lake Simcoe. Then I moved to Sutton, Pefferlaw, then Sutton. I've raced out of Markham, North Bay, Pickering, North Bay, and everywhere in between. I've raced off-road, I've raced on-road, and now drag racing.
Excellent. That's a lot of RC RC hobbies you've been through. Definitely.
It's 30 years worth.
It is a lot of years worth. I'd have to say I only got into any RC maybe 10 years ago, roughly, maybe a little bit longer. And yeah, we started with I think an HPI or an HPI bullet. I think that's what it was. So yeah, it was a long time ago. So how did you get into the NPRC hobby? What brought you here?
I have followed Tim Smith's page for a very long time when he was chasing the RC world speed record, which unfortunately he didn't get. Nick Case got it. But when he started playing around with the DB10, he made a Gasser 55. It was really cool. And then all of a sudden, Proline came out with a Nova body. And they came out with that Super J. And I thought, this is kind of cool. And so as soon as that happened, I thought, this is something I kind of like, because off-road in Northern Ontario is not easy to come by. There is an off-road track in Sudbury, but that's still an hour and 10 minutes for me. And all the gear that is associated with off-road, and I know how much gear is associated with off-road because I've raced it for so long. Drag racing is so simple. It really is. When it comes down to it, it's 2 cones and 2 people and someone to say go. And that's all you need.
Mhm.
You might want to have someone at the end in case your cars are close, but it's pretty close. So that's what got me started in it. And then I ended up going to Sudbury one weekend, and I was supposed to meet up with Charles Levesque, and he had to cancel because of work or a family situation. But either way, Yeti B and I ended up going out and running, and it was probably the best 4, 5, 6 hours that I've ever had. The friendship that grew out of that, I will never replace. And the friendships that I have made and grown through drag racing, I will never be able to do in any kind of off-road. So that being said, that's what brought me in. At the end of the day, it's the actual camaraderie of us drag racers, of how we do it, that got me started, that kept me in it, and really, really just keeps me drawn to it.
Mhm. It is a draw, and it's either because you like the speed, the people are always going to be there. Everybody's in it together and trying to push each other to either go faster or learn more or whatever it might need to be, right? So it's so good to have those connections, and friendships alike. Like there's just and if you ever need something, I mean, a lot of people are there for you in these cases, right? So it's more than just remote control drag racing. It's slowly becoming more and less, because we're seeing each other almost every weekend, more or less like family, right? So it can be, you know, something like that, right? So it's it's a great way to um, just to get together and enjoy something that everybody enjoys, and it's a common ground, and you can forget the hassles of life, right? So
Exactly. and
um,
and the really nice thing about drag racing is it doesn't actually come with the drama like the rest of 10 scale does. Uh,
mhm,
I've raced 10 scale electric on road, 10 scale electric off road, 8 scale nitro off road, and there have been days where I've come off the driver's stand and I've had people so mad at me because I bumped them the wrong way right before the triple that you think they're just going to come right at you. But usually through the course of a race that backs off and nothing ever happens. But at a drag race, if I cross the line and then you flip and we do first versus worst, nobody's mad. It's it doesn't actually matter if I cross the line and I take your car out and you still win it because I crossed the line. Nobody's mad the way it was in off-road or even on-road for that matter,
Mhm.
because it's a one and done type of deal. Because in an on-road race or an off-road race, you have a certain amount of time that you actually have to run. And if you get hit or you get bumped or you roll over or you just are silly and you crash on your own, it's on you and you
Mhm.
have to catch up. In a drag race, when you start and you get to the finish line, it's done. You don't have to worry about the next lap.
Right.
So it's so much easier, in my opinion, to form a true friendship in this type of RC. You can still form friendships in other types of RC, obviously,
Mhm.
but true friendship in this type of RC that is lasting, that the guy that you may have crossed the line or bumped into will come over and say, okay, let's rerun that race and let's fix why you crossed the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a work together so that everybody becomes faster.
Exactly. And it's not when somebody comes up to you and go, "Hey, let's work on this." It's not to be like crass or what's the word I'm trying to think of, like above somebody. Like it's not an inferiority or anything. It's there to, take the advice and learn from it, and you'll do better next time, right? So
Exactly.
it's worth all the testing and tuning in the world to keep testing and tuning as much as you can. So I know nothing about my motor right now as an example, and I'm willing to learn. So it's one thing at a time, right? I finally learned what the inside of a transmission box looks like, right? So I'm learning as I go, and I think it's fun in a lot of ways to say it's um you just learn how things work together and everything like that, and then having the camaraderie of like you and Chuck and Yeti, and I can't think of anybody else right now. Sorry, I know that I've spoken to a lot of people lately, and oh,
But
sorry, Levesque. I gotta mention Levesque.
we're
um,
all in it together when it
it
comes
helps.
down to it. Like we can also say that the guys on the West Coast, like Gary Unser and everything like that, that they can make suggestions as well. That can make us all faster. You know, um, the people that we actually run with will obviously make us faster. Um, but we can also look at the things that like obviously Tim Smith, Mark Vine, Frank Albrecht, Frank Greer, all of those guys, what they're doing, we can look at it, we can message them, we can read their posts, and then we can apply it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, there are some of us that can apply it better than others and can apply it faster and get feedback. But for the most part, you know, this I find this entire community, um, regardless of the keyboard jockeys, is very open, um, to share what makes them fast, um, because we all want to race the fastest person. We don't want to. We don't want to go. We don't want to go to the first race or go to a race and race the slowest people,
No.
knowing we can go as fast as we can. We want to race the fastest people. So, that being said, there is information to be gleaned from the numbers chasers. Um, there is information to be gleaned from the consistent guy in the local club. there is information to be gleaned in almost any post that we see in our NPRC groups. There can be and will be information gleaned that we can use, because sometimes we're sitting there racking our brains, why is this car doing this? And it's just one of them random things like, well, why don't you try this? And it works.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, um, yeah, exactly. Just taking a piece of advice, running with it. Nobody's going to give you advice that's going to mess you up. It's solid advice out there when they're giving it, and they want you to do better and get faster and keep up with them, right? To at least keep up. So that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Um, so Tim, what class of car were you using last year?
So last year I was running a stock tub DR10
Oh,
with a 4.5 turn Reedy Sonic and a Sky RC TS160 with a couple of can't see them right now. They were Yeti's LCG 130C batteries. I can't remember what they were. I can't remember the name of them. Sorry. But that's what I was running. The car felt really, really fast. Um, when we finally got to time it, didn't seem as fast, but that car ran straight and it ran fast everywhere I put it.
wonderful. It really did. Even on line, I think you brought it to line 4, did you?
I did.
You did. Yeah. I remember seeing it go super fast for sure. And I know, yeah, it was an amazing car. I was shocked you could get a DR10 to go that fast. That's awesome.
They even put it on the shoulder and ripped the running board off and still put it back on the road.
Isn't that crazy? And what class are you planning on using this year? Will it be the same or?
So this year we're still running Outlaw.
Mhm,
Still going to be a DR10.
mhm.
It's a little bit different. Um, we've got rid of the tub. Um, we've been working on some stuff, and I can probably show you that in a little bit. Um, Now, Gab, my daughter, she ran in KV Outlaw last year. She'll be running Outlaw this year,
Okay.
running a Maverick. Um, so, but yeah, I'm sticking with the DR10. Some people might think I'm a little silly, but I like the rear motor car. Um, and the things that we've worked on, um, I think I can make a rear motor car pretty darn quick. Um, I might not be in the numbers chasing realm. I'm not going to be, down those 1.8s, 1.7s. But I think this car will probably go below a 2.0.
Excellent. Excellent. And I did see your daughter race last year. I thought she was I thought she was very brave, number one, for getting up there. And number two, I was amazed on how fast she made that car go too. Like that
And,
was
and unfortunately, when we got home, what had happened with her car was the diff absolutely grenaded.
oh
Uh,
no.
so she was actually running a car with a locked up ball diff. It wasn't a gear diff. And what had happened was the pads that actually lock up the diff, so that it doesn't actually destroy the diff. You can still go back to a ball diff. They had completely disintegrated, and it was just an unlocked diff at the end of the day,
Right.
unfortunately.
Oh gosh. Um and so may I ask why like May I ask about the change in, it sounds like it's a change in chassis then that you're kind of doing with the DR10?
The reason being is the DR10 is actually a really good car.
Mhm.
It out of the box, the ready to run. We all know that the electronics are not the greatest. If you buy the kit and you can put your own stuff in it, it works really well. But it has its inherent flaws. It's based off of a buggy and a short course truck, and it's based off of a tub chassis. And they did this really weird rear clip. So we know that a good stiff flat chassis or a flat chassis with some adjustable flex works really, really well. But with the DR10 in stock form with the tub frame, you can't put the weight where it needs to be unless you cut a whole bunch of stuff out. And we don't want to start cutting on a extruded frame or a plastic extruded tub frame because it loses its rigidity completely. And
Mhm.
you're trying to stiffen it up just to get placement where we want it. So the reason for the switch, one, the DR10 works really, really well with the Maverick setup. So the Maverick setup, if you eliminate the mid-motor portion and you adjust the rear for the rear clip on the DR10, the entire front end can be the same as the Maverick. The original Maverick, the 2.0, the KRD. So you can make placement wherever you like. And that was one of the reasons for the change. So after the race after your race in October that we were
Mhm.
at, I had almost 300 grams of weight on the front of that car. And when my turbo kicked in about mid-track, if you go back and watch Viper RC's video, my car actually lifts again, it wheelies again about mid-track.
Oh,
So
wow.
I needed more weight. So I actually needed to shift the weight forward. So I started talking with Chad and we came up with some ideas. I've come up with some ideas. The Traveler has a DR10 currently cut in my idea. He hasn't had a chance to test it yet, but he's got an idea. So what I actually have is it's not a CJC, it's not a copy. It is my version or my adjustments to what I originally designed about 6 months ago.
Awesome. Yeah. No worries there. And so, Tim, may I ask what is keeping your interest in this NPRC racing series, considering there's so many other remote control hobbies too?
It comes back to the friendships that we make.
Yeah.
It truly does. In all the forms of racing that I've done, how quickly we can make a friendship in this race, in this type of racing, I should say, is what keeps me. It When I first started 3 years ago, and this is before I met Yeti,
Mhm.
I I bet I bought a Super J and a Nova body. That's kind of what kept me there. I thought they looked cool, and I didn't really know where it was going to go, because at the time my heart was in off-road. I was trying to get an off-road track here. I'd spent 5 years fighting with the city trying to get an off-road track. And then I had been gifted a 3D printer for Christmas. So I printed some narrow arms for a slash. And I got out there and I tried it. I thought, this is a lot of fun. And then it kind of waned on me a little bit. I was kind of leaning back towards the off-road stuff. And then I went to Sudbury one day, and I was supposed to meet up with Charles Levesque, and he had a couple other commitments that he had to do. So Yeti said, well, I'll grab the timing system and I'll run with you. And then Yeti and we ran, and just watching Yeti run. And if anybody knows Yeti's little monster that he ran at Bolton, that wasn't a little monster. It was a big monster. He put so much power into a freaking LCG slash. It was insane. But I'd raced against him, and after that, the friendship in 3-4 hours, the friendship just formed, and we bonded. And I haven't talked to Yeti a whole lot this week, but I generally talk to Yeti pretty much every single day, and it's usually something about drag racing, or what we should do, or what we shouldn't do, or what we should try to do, or what we blew up.
What was the last thing you blew up, if you don't mind my asking, Tim? What's it?
You know what? For the most part, I haven't blown any electronics. I keep breaking arms, and that's because of and Charles Taylor can probably attest to the parking lots I have here in North Bay, because he was here yesterday to drop some stuff off. And the first thing he said was, holy shit, man, you got like 1 inch of sand in your parking lots. Yeah, no shit. It was also snowing. Unfortunately, I've broken a lot of arms. I've printed a lot of arms. That's pretty much what I've broken. I haven't blown up a whole lot of stuff yet, but we're getting ready to.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that are unknown right now, which isn't a bad thing, but it's going to be exciting, a more level playing field for everyone, I think. And yeah, there's a lot of things going on at this time.
Yeah.
So have you have you missed anything about your favorite things with the NPRC racing, or is there anything else you wanted to add about your favorite stuff?
My favorite thing about it all is actually the innovation that happens. The innovation that I'm able to bring myself, which sometimes is quiet and sometimes it's just paint job. But also how quickly this entire thing has blown up. 3 years ago, we were running 2.5, 2.4, and we thought that was damn quick. A year ago, 2.0 was like super fast. And then this year we look at King of the Streets and it's a 1.6. It's the progression. If we think of it, it's taken two-wheel drive buggy 40 years to get to where it is. We've taken 3 years to get to where we are. Can we take a lot of credit from two-wheel drive buggy? Of course we can, because the transmissions are out of a two-wheel drive buggy. But the traction, the actual chassis design and the way that we actually work with these cars has progressed so much in 3 years that, you know, it's mind blowing. Absolutely mind blowing.
No doubt about that. Oh my goodness, it's a lot has happened in such a short period of time. I'm thinking, yeah, let's get into it. Looks pretty easy, you know. All we have to do is throw a motor in it and we're good to go, kind of thing, or buy the ready to runs or whatever it might be. And we were just considering on racing ourselves as a family, and then we discovered, hey, no, this is actually bigger than we thought it was. And then I turned to my husband. I'm like, let's make this even bigger and get people together from everywhere. Like this is what we need to do now. So
Doing an absolutely fantastic job of it.
I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm I there's a lot that needs to be done before we get too big too. So before we're at that stage, because yeah, we're just mainly a Facebook group, a YouTube channel now, and I don't know, like, and promote the races on a desolate road basically with no facilities. So it'd be nicer to find a better place. Not, but I do love the road. I gotta thank M&R Randy Linney
Yeah.
for finding that road for us. He's the founding the founding parent of the road. Let's put it that way.
Damn good road.
It is. It's a challenging road, and I think that's important as well to test all. Like, if you're a good racer on one road, that doesn't make you a good racer overall. It just makes you a good racer on that road, I guess. To be a good racer, you have to meet the elements basically too, like any drag race, so to speak, 1/10 skill or full skill, right? So
Yep.
it's important. Not that I do any real drag racing, never done it. Um, so what has been your biggest achievement in NPRC racing so far?
I don't really know. Um, I guess making the third round last October has been the biggest one,
Mhm.
because up until that point, I hadn't actually been able to make it to a race. Um, but more so than that, I think maybe the biggest achievement in my in my personal opinion has been getting my youngest um, into it and get her as far as she got. She made the second round before her car imploded. So, and she was happy.
Yes.
Her entire mentality that day was, I just want to go farther than the first round, and she did that. So, as a dad, that's my biggest accomplishment. What I do, it doesn't really matter. And the reason I say that is I've always been what they consider a B team driver. Um, Even when I raced 8 scale off road, um, I wasn't the guy that they expected to make the A main. I was the guy that was going to be in the C main, and then I was going to be the guy that was in the pits for the A main to make sure that the A main guys made it and won. So um, I'm more of the background guy. So I would absolutely say that my biggest accomplishment was the fact that I was able to build something for my daughter that got her through the first round, and she was able to run the second round even though it blew up.
That is good for you both, definitely. I think that is an accomplishment to make your kids happy, definitely. Um, and what are your goals for this upcoming season then?
This upcoming season, my goal again, it comes back to Gab. We're going to do our best to make her consistent. She is running a Maverick, thanks to Yeti B. We're going to do our best to make her consistent, and we're not gonna put the car in kill mode. We're gonna do everything we can to make her fast with what she has and make it consistent. It goes A to B every time, because when we race line 4, you don't necessarily have to have a 1.7 car, you know, and even if we were to go to Niagara, you don't have to have 1.7 car. Unfortunately, Niagara, we won't be there. That's a bit of a trip for us. But the goal is to make her consistent. My personal goal is to take this DR10 idea I have in my head and prove it. But of course, now they've released a DR10M, and everybody will ditch their DR10 rear motors, and everybody will be running mid motor, and I'll be sitting here going, well, watch me go fast, rear motor.
I'm still rear motor, and I'm using a DR. I'm using a DR10 chassis too. So, and
Yeah.
it's the old school plastic bucket model.
Jacob Leader showed that it can go fast.
Yeah.
You know, we know it can.
Yeah.
It's just, can we improve on it and keep
That's
rear motor relevant? Because I think there's a time and a place where a rear motor car may just work better, maybe not. With every advancement that we make, maybe we don't. Maybe your rear motor is just kind of the entry into the mid motor stuff. I don't know.
right.
But we'll make it as we can.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know the outcome of what, like, the debate of rear motor versus mid mount motor. Like, I think that would be a cool poll if somebody decided to put that up or something like that, just to get the times, whether from a motor mount compared to uh, a rear motor mount. Sorry. So I think that is a pretty interesting debate.
It is a debate, but I don't know that unfortunately, I don't know that it's a debate that will ever actually get debated. Just because if we look at the current crop of top cars, they're all mid motors.
Mhm.
What we have to do, I guess, is we have to go back and look at kind of the things that like Mark Fine did with his rear motor bullets. He went super straight, super fast with them. But then he switched to his mid motor stuff because that's what was winning at all the big stuff. I think there's a time and a place again that rear motor works well, where mid motor works well. I guess in the long run, I'm cheap. I'm going to stick with my rear motor, and I'm going to try and make it go as fast as I possibly can, and then go, here, let's build this.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, it's something that we have to figure out eventually, and which way is the better way. Maybe people just eventually have a preference of one way or the other and keep both, right? So it might just be preference. So Tim, I know you do a lot more than just racing in this world, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I'm most familiar with is your painting techniques. And you've mentioned also some chassis designs that you've mentioned, and
Yep.
I know you have a couple projects on the go. Did you want to share what you have going on?
Sure. Here, let's see if I can turn this camera around. What is this camera? That's the one workbench. So right now we've got the Travelers, Charles Taylor's Bach 22.
Oh.
Charles, we're gonna have to talk because they didn't put a front cut for your front wheel, so you're gonna have to tell me where you want that. We've got another body sitting in the stand. This is the body stand. We have a couple bodies in progress. One sitting on my current chassis. Some people will recognize this
I know
one.
those.
And we got a couple more laying in wait. This is my off-road Hall of Shame. The printer station.
Yeah.
But this here, pull this off. This here is my version of a DR10.
Nice.
So we've actually mounted the servo in front of the shock tower. You'll notice, those that know, we have a Maverick 2.0 front shock tower and bulkhead on it. A cross steer, a GNSS in the middle. Battery will sit here, but you can come right up to the top. ESC tray, still rear motor. We're back to the standard DR10 type wheelie bar, right? So that's the chassis part. That's my chassis work. That's my design. But then we get into paint work, which is what we always enjoy doing. That's what we're here for, right? Such as the Super J. I've always loved this body. I didn't really get to run it as much as I wanted to, but it works well. I might run it in a KV class car. I do have a slash car that I can run it on.
Yeah.
This was Gab's. This was actually my body originally, and then Gab ran it at your race in October.
The top car there, right?
The Mistress.
Yeah. Okay.
And then this Nova. This was the first Nova. This is what brought me in. This car started out almost the same color as the Super J.
Yeah.
This color. And then it became white for Yeti for the Bolton King of the Streets race. And then we painted it this color because Gab wanted to run the Slash with this body. Unfortunately, that body is now retired because it's falling apart.
Oh.
This body here, that was one that we did up in October. Unfortunately, I was very, very unhappy with it, so we're redoing that one. This is actually a Firebird for Gab that she will be running on the CJC for Yeti.
Yep.
We're going to do Blue Flames on. And then we have Charles Marks 22, which I already showed, which we're going to do a really wicked scheme on, but I'm going to keep that one a little bit of a secret. But he also has a Biddy Designs Mustang here. And also this week, we finished up a body for Doc and a body for...
You're taking my thunder. No, just kidding. And Greg Linderman, right?
Yes. We finished those up. Greg was crazy enough to drive up here and pick them up, but that's fine. I actually wouldn't say that Greg coming up on a Thursday is the craziest thing that I've ever seen. Yeti B holds the record for the craziest thing for paint for me ever. He met me at work at 7 a.m. one morning so that he could drive back to Sudbury for a charity event.
Yeah. Wow.
It I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't. But those are the current projects on the go.
Yeah. So I just want to plug in 10th RC YouTube channel because that's where you're going to see Tim's amazing artwork on those bodies. I mean, I'm beyond belief on those bodies. Like they're just I just love the holographic design you kind of put on them. So it's something I've seen before, but never knew of anyone who did it before too. So that's kind of cool that you're one to be able to implement that artistic ability.
Well, I do my best.
That's all we can do, right?
Yeah.
Um, so do you have any pro painting tips for us tonight?
Try it. The only thing I can really say aside from try it is the type of stuff that I do. I put a lot of thought into, and I will reference something that Greg said in his video. And Greg, when Doc showed his video or showed his body, Greg said, I wanted more red. Greg had actually mentioned that to me when he saw his body after the black had gone on. The difference is if I was painting a real car, which is what I do on a daily basis, if someone said I want more red, I could go back in and make more red. But when you paint an RC car, you're painting from the outside in instead of the outside or the inside out. I don't know how much red's on there until I put the black on. So unfortunately, Greg, you got a little less red. Doc got a little more red. That's when you're painting something, try to take that into mind, because if you don't feel that the color is heavy enough, put more on, because you can't take it off. If you're painting a real car and you don't like what you did, you just repaint it. With these, it's a lot harder to take the paint off. The other tip that I would give, if you're going to do a layout that seems very, very technical, really think about how you want to lay it out and really think about what material you want to use as masking. So lately, I've been using masking tape. Reason being is it's cold. It's hard to ship liquid mask without it freezing. But if you're doing 5, 6, 7 colors and you're doing straight lines, kind of like the Mistress, where everything is straight and we want to keep it nice and even, then you want to use liquid mask. It's hard to do this in tape because of the curves and the overlap in tape. It won't work properly. You can get it done, but it's going to cause you aggravation, and you're going to work a couple of times harder. If it's liquid mask, it works a lot easier because you can see it. It's one cut and done. 2 layers of tape can take two cuts with the X-Acto knife. And the other thing is, when you get down to edges like this, if you go too deep in the Lexan, the same as we trim these bodies, you're just doing it from this side. It'll catch something, it'll rip. So if you flex it too much and you've cut too deep because you used a masking tape or even too thick of a liquid mask, you can actually rip it there because it's actually scored on the other side if you are too heavy. But at the same point, you can also get almost the same results using a spray. Most of my backing colors are done in a spray bomb because it's such a large area on these bodies. Pinstripes are always done with the airbrush. All the drop shadows are always done with the airbrush. Any of the skulls, the anything that's ghosted is done with the airbrush. You can get airbrushes at Canadian Tire for $24.99. They are a siphon feed airbrush. They're not going to do super fine lines because you have to suck the paint out of the cup. So you have to use a higher pressure. So you actually do need an air compressor. So you can't draw like pencil lines. But you can also get stuff off of Amazon that comes with its own compressor. It's a gravity feed, such as this setup right here.
Yeah.
So actually, complete compressor and airbrush setup. This is actually it's almost the same as an Eclipse. I can do relatively fine lines with it, with that compressor, and I don't have to actually plug into my quiet air compressor because this workshop is actually in my basement. And my wife is another floor above that, so she doesn't like it when I run the air compressor on me. But
No, it's better to have a quieter one when you can.
exactly. But you can get a setup like that off of Amazon for I don't know what this one cost because this was a Christmas present from my mom this year. But I did look them up and they're roughly 150, 170. The paint now I have sprayed Proline paint through it, but a lot of my Proline paint is actually it's 2 years old now, so it's getting really thick. It's getting out of date, and it's getting hard to spray. A lot of the paint that I use for colors, again, because I work in a body shop, is auto body paint. Waterborne automotive paint has the same characteristics as the Proline paint, as aside from like your testers and your Tamiya polycarbonate paints. They have the same adhesion promoters in them already because we have to stick them to plastic bumpers. We have to stick them to like it's already there. If you it's not exactly easy for anybody and everybody to do, but if you actually take a cup of mixed automotive paint from a body shop and you smell it compared to the Proline paint or Tester's acrylic paint or anything like that, it smells exactly the same because it's the same makeup at the end of the day. So in my instance, that works really, really well, especially when guys want custom colors. But I will stand by the Proline paint. I know there has been a couple of people, I won't mention names, that have had issues with Proline paint, saying that it fish eyes and it doesn't stick and it peels off. I've never, ever, ever had an issue with the Proline paint that I have, aside from the fact that now mine's getting old and it's getting harder to spray through my airbrush. It's time for me to update the jars. you know, paint does get old. It has a shelf life.
Yeah, it can definitely dry out. What PSI do you prefer to use?
This standalone unit, it doesn't actually tell me the PSI. When I use my quiet air compressor, I generally run it between 25 and 30 PSI, depending on what I'm doing. Generally, though, if I'm using the big compressor, the reason I run it that high is because I'm doing a large area. We all know that these drag bodies are big. So more PSI increases the fan. I have actually had the PSI on the big compressor down as far as 15 PSI to get a really fine line. And sometimes you got to bump it up just a little bit because of the paint. Sometimes it'll start to splatter, and we don't really like that. We
No.
want it to be a nice smooth shade.
Yeah, it's so important. Alan Thomas has a couple questions here too. He says, what is your best tip for drop shadows? I know practice, but do you have a watered down black, and in what ratio?
Best drop shadow. The problem with a watered down black, depending on what you're using. I've used the auto air colors, which work really well with their reducer, and I believe they're at 20% reduced. Is the way that the drop shadow really lays down nice. If you're using automotive paint, generally I tend to cut with a 9 or 100% isopropyl alcohol, and I kind of have to play with consistency every time, just because of what I might want to do. If you go too thin, you end up putting on a whole bunch of coats, and then you end up in this kind of funny area where you don't go in a straight line. My best advice in this instance is get some of the Pro Line. If you don't like the Pro Line, see if you can find some of the testers and use it straight and practice. And the best thing to practice on is a 2-liter pop bottle cut in half. Because you can use a flat piece of Lexan, which I have right here. But if I spray straight, it's great. But has anybody seen a straight RC car body? No. We've got to make it around the curves. 2-liter pop bottle is probably the best thing to use to practice, because you have to follow that curve. But yeah, the Pro Line, the testers, the Creatix, which I believe is now what they're calling Auto Air, any of those, and start. If you're doing a drop shadow, start way off the edge. Don't come right hard on the edge and try and draw your line, because one, you want to see where the airbrush is going to spray it, and you want to know if you can follow that line. If you start right on the line that you want to paint, and all of a sudden the airbrush hose gets hung on something, and you go, well, now you're backfilling all of that, trying to get that drop shadow to look right. Start off the line, and even if it's just a little haze at the line, flip it over and look at it. You may enjoy what it's at. If it's not, move down a bit and do it again. The best way to do a drop shadow is to start off the line and work your way darker and darker and darker. And if you don't like the color that you're at moving off the line, move down. Just try not to be right on that line, because if you're right on that line and something goes wrong, it's really wrong. And if you've already laid down two other colors, you know, even in a drop shadow area, or because that drop shadow meets up to a pinstripe, you can't wash it off. You can go in with an isopropyl alcohol while it's still relatively fresh, and you can wipe it down, but you'll wipe off every single color in line, and then you're back into remasking it.
Yeah.
All and take the steps.
So basically, just start smaller than you're expecting, and then kind of working it larger.
Exactly.
Perfect. So would our audience have any other questions for tonight? I'm going to leave that one for a second. We'll let them plug them in. So as we're waiting for more questions, can I ask what you are looking forward to this upcoming season, Tim?
I'm looking forward to hanging out. I'm looking forward to hanging out and trying to go fast.
That's a good thing to look forward to. Absolutely. I'm just looking to find out what this 3.5 turn motor can do for me. So I know what it can do for others. I just don't know what it's going to do for me, right? So I think we had a lot of good questions here. I'm just going to go to the next question we have here. And may I ask what advice you would have for new racers and hobbyists getting into the NPRC drag racing?
It's almost a loaded question. Just do it. Regardless of what you have, if you buy it ready to run, go out and run it and learn how the car works. Don't worry about wins and losses. I have more personal losses and more race losses than I have wins. Don't get discouraged because the car doesn't do what you think it should do. A drag car never goes straight unless you put the work into it. You know, even the full size 1-to-1 guys, the cars, after they built them, it's not like they put it on the track and it just went dead straight and they were the fastest guy out there. They spent multiple days, weeks, months getting that car to go like that. The work has to go in, but the nice thing is you have a pool of people that will help you. And yeah, you'll get the keyboard jockey that makes a smart ass comment like, "Oh, put a bigger opinion on it," and it doesn't help you. But for the most part, 98.9% of us are here to help everybody go faster, so that we can go as fast as possible. We
Yep.
all want to race the fastest people.
Yeah. I think chasing numbers or chasing ETs is a wonderful way to get faster and having the knowledge base behind you to do so is the second part, right? Outside of motivation. But I loved one of your comments at me the other day, and you said mindset. Oh, I lost you, Tim.
I'm still here.
Okay. I I was talking to you the other day. You were talking about something along the lines of mindset and having a fast paint job. It makes somebody think that they can go faster, and it's a possibility that they do go faster with those uh,
Yep.
amazing paint jobs.
Yes. So, can a really good paint job make you faster? Yes. No. But yeah,
Exactly. It can make
when
you feel like you are.
you have the
So,
of the way that the car looks, when you feel as though your your car is pro, then you tend to, you may not push it quite as hard as you should, but you're going to push it just enough that you think that you can, and usually it works out. um, but the actual, when you sit down and you look at your car and you go, you know, that thing looks awesome. It looks fast standing still. You know, maybe you hold the trigger a little harder. Maybe you cut that light a little quicker because you've built that confidence. So technically, a well painted body, no, it won't make you faster. It doesn't matter what you do, unless of course you're running a well painted aero body that, and you switched from a CUDA body. But you know, the mental aspect of it, when you feel as though your car looks as best as it can, a white painted body is a white painted body. You know, nobody's going to come over and say, hey, that's a cool white. They, you know, but they'll come over when you go, hey, I really like what you did there, and you go, they like it. Let's make this thing go down the track, A to B, bang, you know, and the next thing you know, you picked up a tenth because you cut a good light because you felt confident. Did that body make you faster? Yes, but no, but yes. You know, um, generally, no, a well painted body will not make you faster unless you're switching to an aero body that we know is actually faster from what you were running. But the mental aspect of it, the confidence and the pride that you can feel from having that body, um, definitely over time will make you faster. Not only that, nobody wants to spend that kind of money and roll it,
no.
you know. So um, mind you, Yeti B, he's very good at sending me new stuff because he crashed it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good at he's good at he's good at both ends of things, you know. He's really good at going fast. He's really good at going A to B, but on those mistakes, they can be costly, unfortunately. So, yeah,
Yep.
I can appreciate that. So I guess just so we can plug you a little bit better here, Tim, what would, on average, what would a body uh, decal cost one person?
So for the most part, a drag body starts about 125, depending on the scheme. Um, it goes up from there depending on how many colors and how complicated it becomes. Things I will say this: bodies that guys want painted 2 colors, 2 tones, stuff like that. I will gladly explain to you in detail how to do it yourself, because you have to remember you're sending it to the armpit of the world here in North Bay. I say it's the armpit of the world because I don't have a hobby shop and I'm halfway between here and hell. So between your shipping, the actual cost of your body, and what it would cost for me to paint it and then ship it back, I would rather teach you how to tape it out, how to paint it yourself if you're doing 2 colors, if you're doing a 2-tone or something like that. If you want something, more elaborate, obviously we can work on it and we can work on price and we can figure all of that out. I start roughly 125, and then if you're doing multiples, we can do deals, and we go from there. Multiple color stuff, 5, 6, 7, 8 colors. That's going to take a lot of time,
Mm-hmm.
And I do this at night. I generally don't get down here until 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. So, it's my side gig. It's not my full-time job. I do my best to get everything turned around as fast as I possibly can. But some days I never even make it down here. So.
Yeah. So no, thank you very much for sharing that with me, and I think it's so important. And I do like intense comments on our show right now about the cost of paint and supplies can be, $60 or more alone, and then not to mention your time and expertise into it. I think it's very fair, very like a very fair starting price for sure. So I think it's important. And any shout outs you have for tonight?
I have to shout out Eddie B.
Right.
He's kept me in this thing. There's been a couple of times where I wanted to walk away, but he keeps me here. I gotta shout out Chad at CJC. He's listened to all my kind of crazy ideas, and he cut something that him and I came up with, but we haven't actually we haven't truly had a chance to test it. I gotta shout out the Traveler, because he's the guy that's actually going to test what I came up with in my own brain. And of course, he's got stuff here that's ready to be painted. You guys, obviously, if this show wasn't happening, then I wouldn't be sitting here rambling on about it.
No.
And like I said, because I kind of live in the armpit of the world, North Bay doesn't actually have a hobby shop. We have nothing. So I have to give a shout out to Chris Taylor at Doc's Hobby Shop in Sudbury.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody knows Chris, you'll know what I'm talking about. He bends over backwards for everybody that he can. He's had stuff in stock for guys in London and put it on an Ontario Northland bus, and he had it the same day. It's just what he will actually do for people is just amazing. Um, so I have to give him a shout out because most of these bodies came from him, aside from the stuff that people have actually sent up. Because if people don't have the body, I get a hold of Chris and he does his best to get the body and we get it here. And usually if he has it in stock, he puts it on the bus and it's here that day and I can get going on it, you know, that night. Um, aside from that, I have to shout out my wife, even though she's already asked me to go to bed. So, you know, she actually puts up with the painting and the incessant droning about RC, even though she's not a huge fan of it. Uh, so yeah, uh, I think that well, I should shout out Josh Wilson as well because he him and I have shared some interesting ideas on design, and I can't design worth a crap when it comes to 3D printing or anything like that. I can do really nice square shapes. Josh can do really nice shapes. So I can show Josh a square shape, and he can fix it. So I gotta I gotta shout him out because my original slash car, um, a lot of the parts on that I designed and they were square. And then I started designing parts for my DR10 when I got it, and Josh fixed them because they were horrible. And um, so so yeah, I think that's pretty much it for shout outs.
Oh no, thank you. I agree. I mean, everybody you showed it out to, I have to say I would definitely do the same shout outs if in my shoes here because and plus because I mean without you guys coming on the show wouldn't exist. So I want to again thank you for being part of the show. But before I finalize that, thanks. Is there anything else you'd like to share for tonight?
No, I think we pretty much I think we pretty much covered it. Um, I've shown I've shown everything that I think I can show. Um, I've and I've covered everything I think is pertinent to cover.
I I would have to agree with you. I was expecting you over delivered. It's awesome. Thank you again for sharing all your expertise, those amazing paint jobs. I think they're always top notch out there. When I see them, I can usually tell or I'll ask if that came from you, if it's a really amazing job. Um, and 9 times out of 10, most of the guys that I've met so far will say that it's come from your shop. So Tim, I think you are an amazing artist when it comes down to these RC bodies, and I'm really glad you were able to share that expertise with us. Um, I, I'll probably be reaching out to you in the near future on a couple ideas I have for uh, a paint job that might work for me.
Yep.
But other than that, I don't want to do it during a busy time, so I'm very patient too. So don't worry. Um, And Tim, again, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Easter. I want to thank you guys for watching again tonight, and those who catch up later to watch, feel free to comment on the show. I will definitely respond. If Tim sees any comments, I'm sure he'll respond to any of the questions you might leave as well. Don't forget to, thanks, Tim. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more up-to-date information, um, notifications on upcoming shows and the races and everything else we might have. Till next week. Oh, next week I have an amazing show again. We have a guest who specializes in in tire prep as well. So there's a lot more we can talk about and get our cars ready by hopefully April 30th, right? So anyway, till next week, everybody take care. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Bye for now.